Hello everybody and welcome back. You are about to watch our final series of the day, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. This is week 11 of Quake Pro League. My name's Ketchup, joined by DJ Wheat and ZSX. Rapha, DaHanG, the Liquid Showdown, which has happened so many times across Quake Champions and is about to happen again. Dan, what do we think?
I'm interested to see how it fares against the last series, if I'm honest. I
don't think it can match it. I don't think anything can.
Well, there you go. Then I'm out. But I think every time these two match up, we're always at a place where, like, is this DaHanG's time? And it's then, oh god, you can't hear that, could you? Then it's like, oh no, it's not. And I do feel that it's going to be like that again this time, because DaHanG has been at a bit of an upward trajectory, but still not set the world alight relative to how Rapha's been playing. Because once again, Rapha is just indomitable. So the big question mark is, what does Rapha look like and how close could DaHanG make it? That's how I see this set going.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dan really wants DaHanG to take a map because he will owe me $5 at the end of the stage if Rapha remains undefeated. But I mean, we have to look at the historics of this and in a lot of different capacities. That these two playing against each other in official capacity. These two have played together in 2v2. These two have been teammates forever. These two often boot camp with one another, right? So if there is another player that probably understands the other, this pair is probably unparalleled in the QPL. They understand what they're capable of, what they can do, how they play, the mistakes they make, right? They just understand one another intimately. So then it almost comes down to raw skill. And as much as I love DaHanG and he's a timing beast, like Rapha's aim and his decision-making have really been, in my opinion, at an all-time high. So the question comes down to, like, will DaHanG eclipse Rapha's raw skill today?
Yeah,
it's always a hard question to answer. No, take it away, Dan. Sorry.
No, I think I completely agree. And I think the other thing to throw in the equation, I feel DaHanG is a bit more regimented in his play style, whereas Rapha openly states how adaptive he is to whoever he's playing against. So it does feel that it's one of the reasons why Rapha often gets a 3-0 is because he's the one that makes the earlier adaptation and has an easier time. So love to see DaHanG bring something a bit different to the table.
Yeah, on that note, I feel like running the risk of almost bringing up an out-of-date point, but there was a time before and even during Pro League and the kind of 2 years that we've had where pretty much the only player that would be able to get any maps on Rapha was DaHanG. And it introduces a, for me, interesting dynamic of, we often see Rapha, if he has less information on you, you do sometimes have that element of surprise. It's something that gets brought up a lot because it happens when he plays online, it happens in tournament. Obviously, he is the champion, right? So not so much in tournament. But my whole point is that when Rapha gets the download on you, it seems incredibly hard to basically overcome that, because you have the smartest player in the community who is growing the natural skill. The aim is getting better and better, where he's becoming, like, literally the perfect Quake player. So if he has the download on you as a player, how do you one-up that? And under those circumstances, DaHanG has still been able to kind of take those maps. Not so much recently, sure, but it's still a part of the Quake Champions history. So I think it's worth bringing up to kind of almost give DaHanG that benefit of the doubt. But I do think Rapha is the clear favorite. When we have the picks and bans, we'll take a look at them. We'll look at the maps and the champions and everything else. Because we're starting off with Vale, Scalebearer instantly removed, Galena and Sorlag, very meta. Deep Embrace again. What a popular map it's been this week. Athena for Rapha, which is always a treat versus Ranger. And then the Death Knight removed from Exile, BJ and Strog. So this is definitely the picks and bans of two players that know each other's strengths when it comes to just who they pick.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the Sorlag pick on Vale is probably a perfect example of the adaptive nature of Rapha. Like, traditionally, he would have picked a Blaskovic there, but seeing the Galena come out from DaHanG, knowing how DaHanG wants to play, he picks up a Sorlag so he can go fast and aggressive and keep the pressure on and just clear out those totems. He wouldn't be able to do that as effectively on a BJ. So, again, really nice switch up from Rapha. Then we go into Deep, Ranger coming out, love it. and then Rapha's Athena is left on the table, and boy, is he pick it up immediately. So we've seen some great things there. I think DaHanG will find it very hard to keep on top of the Athena, but from what we saw from Cypher, you know he's got the capability and a ranger to at least manage that to some degree. And then the first Exile of the day, and we have Strog versus a BJ. So we know that Strog is a favored pick on there, and BJ is just a favored pick in the US in general.
My only comments about Deep Embrace, it's got to be a little frustrating to be like, okay, let's take away the movement advantage of my opponent on this map, and then they just pick another champion that gives him almost more movement advantage. The thing is, it's like, I'm not sure how comfortable a lot of people are picking Athena. So, yeah, you know, it's kind of like a lose-lose situation on the champ ban and the pick there for DaHanG. But this is an interesting one. I'm gonna, you know, say based off of what I'm seeing, I'm really excited for map 2. I think seeing a seasoned Athena is great, and I expect this to go 3-0.
Well, she's become quite the specialist's champion pick. Certainly not everyone plays her, and when they do, you kind of see mixed results. Reminds me at the beginning of Pro League where we would see Athena every now and then, and it just never worked. It just seemed like she was too hard to make, kind of just get around, and then the moment people started to, I think, get that absolute refined practice in, it just turns out that she does stuff that no one else is able to do, and when that's appropriate, she seems almost unmatched. But possibly the hardest champion in the entire game to play, which is likely why we don't see her all that often, because she's a risk, because you've got to take one of the most technical champions that you can pick and then play it at such a level in tournament where mistakes will get punished severely, especially with the likes of Rapha and DaHanG. So not surprised that Rapha, of all players, is the one that brings it forward. But plenty more maps to come in. Take it away.
Real quick. If you missed it last week, it was Wenger versus Avik. Avik played Athena on Awoken, and that game was sick.
I watched that at the end of the day. I got back just in time to tune into that one. That was a really fun time. But, Dan, before we say goodbye to you, I'd say predictions. I think we're all in agreement that Rapha's the favorite here. Do we all agree 3-0? That's a biased thing, but you know what? I respect it. Wheat, are you the same?
Oh, I was actually muted. Oh, great.
I need to win the bet. So Rapha 3-0.
But if
I was muted on VMix, so I said 2-1 because I can't afford to be out $5.
Fair enough.
There you go.
See you later, Dan. We'll see you in a little bit after these 3 maps are gone. Are done and dusted. Rapha and DaHanG, they're about to go head to head, and there's really not much else you can say about these two guys because they have such rich history, and I'm sure, you know, you have a thing or two to say about these two guys with your background as well. How many times have you commentated Rapha and DaHanG in the years?
It's got to be in the hundreds. It really does. You know, between all the team stuff that they've done, whether it's CTF or 2v2 or, you know, duels, it's a very high number. One of these days when I get really bored, Ketchup, I might go back and try to count them.
On that note, and this is completely unrelated to the match before us, but I'm sure actually some people might appreciate me asking this for either old time's sake or whatever. Personal question. Do you have a favorite match that you've casted with these two? This could be any Quake, any tournament. Is there one?
You know, I don't know in duel, but there
it could be anything. Like, anything goes.
Watching these two play 2v2 in kind of the end of the Quake 3 Quake Live era was something special. Like they were kind of on a whole different sort of level than a lot of other players. So it would probably have to be one of those. You know, unfortunately, there hasn't been. You know, there's probably a couple of duels, but you know, Ketchup, I'm also getting old. Like sometimes it can be a little bit hard to. But I specifically remember some 2v2s that were not really that fun to watch because DaHanG and Rapha were just slapping their opponents so hard.
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because go figure, they turned out to be the undisputed greatest 2v2 at Quake champions as well. So we've almost come full circle, haven't we? But here we go. Vale of Pnath begins. Checking things out from DaHanG's point of view first. Two good friends, teammates, countless encounters, and now we'll be starting this first map. DaHanG straight through looking to get a rail, but the rail's already been taken, and because of it, he can't pick it up. And he is stuck in no man's land. rapha will punish the moment DaHanG dropped down and couldn't get a rail. That was just the beginning of the end for the first frag.
Yeah, it was, it was, you know, pretty straightforward there. I think rapha knew, hey, if I hit both these rails, I'm going to put the first frag on the board. There's not a whole lot of options you have to get out of there. And unfortunately, that was the only one that DaHanG had, which was to die to rapha. LG's come out, a lot of damage done, but rapha's LG reigns supreme as he picks up his second frag here. And I was going to say, Ketchup, you know, I would expect the matchup, even with DaHanG, right? Even though we talked about how much these two know one another, to still start off slow, right? rapha has talked about a lot in the past during his interviews of how he kind of approaches these games, that he wouldn't just say, okay, I have the utmost confidence because I've been in this situation many, many, many times. He is going to play with the same level of cautiousness and let kind of the rapha-ness, you know, level up and ramp up.
On that note, what always intrigues me is that rapha, there is the fearlessness, the respect everyone but fear no one almost approach, where if something can be done, he will chase. If he can push, he'll push. If he can set up for an angle on something that could go wrong, but he's super confident he can hit the shot, he'll do it. Doesn't matter if he's against the greatest aimer in the world, doesn't matter if he's against the most aggressive player in the world. His ability to just match that player versus player element it's unmatched. It's why he is the status that he is. DaHanG having a rough start here, but it comes down to rapha, smells blood in the water, instantly pounces on it, and then is able to make a little bit more with a couple of frags to follow. The ambush in the center point knows that DaHanG, this guy's out of position, going in, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Totem was not going to save him there, especially with the rocket launcher equipped. DaHanG off the spawn did steal away that heavy.
Ooh.
And does land a rail from the lower level. Tough shot to make. He manages to stick it out. It's 1-4. DaHanG, though, on the board. And you know, I think you've got to be happy with that. rapha is going to clean it back up and try to take back control. But you see DaHanG, he's going to go aggro here. Spit does come out, but DaHanG still gets the frag. 2-5, and dare I say it, we at least got ourselves a game.
Now, with these fights, you are pretty much seeing in its purest form something that both rapha and DaHanG often talk about in interviews, is that you're about to go into an encounter, you're doing the maths in your head, weighing up how much damage am I likely to take and how much damage can I afford to get away with. We are seeing that with every single push, where they know they're going to get hit, but they truly believe if I just get the damage I should be getting, I'll survive this fight and I can move on to the next one. There's so much just absolute confidence in it. However, now DaHanG having to make chase, but where is the opportunity? Damage over time, that's going to give information. DaHanG did try and push through, setting up for a rail. rapha would have much preferred to hit that shot, but now forced to retreat, 1 HP shy of railable until he can get some armor.
And you can, you know, clearly see why rapha went with the soar lag choice here too. Just definitely able to ramp up that speed much more than his opponent. Unfortunately, he can't run away from that LG from DaHanG. And DaHanG does make this a 2-frag game. So now I'm curious, with DaHanG having a little bit more control than his opponent right now. There we see Totem taken out by rapha, and DaHanG still on the chase. He's setting himself up for that heavy, which is in a couple of seconds. Knows that that mega is up, trying to do the dance on the top with rapha. The rapha is still holding his own, being so low. And look, he waits for rapha to go through that teleporter. He does. The heavy is picked up by rapha, but nice rail by DaHanG, and he will pick up the mega, but not after stacking a few extra seconds on it.
The discipline that DaHanG is consistently able to show. You see rapha underneath. So many players would be tempted to go, damn, he's here. Let's go quickly take the item and make sure he doesn't grab it. But DaHanG knows, if I just hold this angle, he is smart enough to not push this recklessly. So I can get a little bit of extra time to work with, and extra damage, in fact, to then pick up mega later. I get a delay, and then at the same time, I just make that divide even greater if I get good damage. Now, speaking of good damage, DaHanG is getting a fair amount of it, and he is about to tie things up. Can he finish it, though, to bring us to a 5-5 week?
It's really close. And the thing that DaHanG is doing right now that's changing everything is... what?
Yowzers!
Oh, my gosh. Well, what I was going to say is DaHanG has been hitting his rails. And that's made a huge difference. He's shooting a 58% rail with 17 fired and 10 hit. That was unfortunate. There is a nice battle by Rapha. Rapha low yet again. And DaHanG doing everything to try to claw back at that 2-frag lead that Rapha has. But halfway through this matchup catch-up, rails are being exchanged right now. DaHanG hits another one. Doesn't quite put Rapha in the danger zone. But again, his railgun is definitely helping him separate try to claw back at this lead.
That's frightening element that Galena puts forward. You use a teleporter, you just kind of go into it knowing there's likely to be damage on the other side thanks to a totem. Rapha does it nice and early just to at least make sure I have time to control this upper ground and try and take this next item. Unfortunately, even after that, oh no, caught with the wrong weapon out, he is toast! But he gets as much damage as he can, and you know what? Actually, the damage in the acid, Rapha could very well refrag this. The defensive play from DaHanG, I love that angle. Rapha got nothing out of that except a rail slap on the wrist.
Oh yeah, I mean, a couple more ticks, a little bit more damage there, and that would have been Rapha's way. But we're tied up right now. And right now, Dan is biting his fingernails. He's got a weird little smile on his face as the score is tied. But Rapha wins that engagement as DaHanG drops down, and he now takes a 1-frag lead.
I love this idea of being able to just swoop in on the way in, knowing he could spawn near rail, and we just take the extra effort to take the rail. It's not going to give you any extra ammo, but what it is going to do is mean that small delay between it, you know, respawning means that if DaHanG went down there, kind of like the first frag, there's no rail to take, and the time's wasted. Who knows what position it could put you in. Now the fight breaking out near the middle point. There goes the totem. A little bit of a heal, but is it going to be enough? No, it will not. Rapha secures another frag. And with a few seconds to spare until this mega appears, Rapha should by all means be in a position to take it. Now the heavy gets taken. They'll trade these items. But from here... Wow, the aggressive rocket jump can't quite get the height, and the LG pushes him away. Oh, good lord, that stack. That stack just continues to impress.
You know, Ketchup, I think, like, you sometimes are looking at these engagements from DaHanG and we're just saying, that wasn't, you know, that wasn't the greatest. But what I see DaHanG doing is taking, I think, what he sees are necessary risks to actually try to win this game. And I appreciate the fact that he's doing it, right? Rather than sort of playing in a more timid fashion. I mean, he's certainly given Rapha a run here. But I think he's sort of knows, hey, I've got to take a few risks here if I'm going to try to pull this one out. And that's kind of what we've seen here. And there's one of them. I mean, DaHanG's kind of turned up the aggression just a little bit. He's down by 3, less than 2 minutes to go. But I'd expect to see him maybe take a couple more of these risks here in the last 2 minutes just to try to see if he might be able to sneak out a sudden death or possibly a win.
If we're looking at the items, actually, it's been a near complete even split on them as DaHanG gets another frag here. They've essentially taken the exact same amount of not only the major items, but the light armors. So it's just coming down to these nitty-gritty little fights of which Rapha is just, by the narrowest margin, taking them. DaHanG really giving Rapha a bit of a run for his money,
wow.
But there's the tri-bolt. Quake 1 grenade launcher. God, I love it. And now a lot more work to do and only a minute to get it done, Wheat.
Yeah, and I mean, DaHanG opening up with these rails is huge. There's a second one. He does drop the totem, but unfortunately his arsenal is pretty limited there, down to 27 points health, and Rapha lands the pixel rail. 8-12 now, and that one is going to be a little tough. But certainly DaHanG really carried early on by his incredible rails, and took some mighty big risks that definitely paid off here. DaHanG is low, and Rapha looking for one last frag, and wow, there it is. The spit actually going to take the claim on that one, but up by 5, 30 seconds to go, and Rapha will take game number 1.
A nice and competitive map 1. I think the score margin got a lot more extreme in the last few minutes, simply because DaHanG didn't have time. He had to try and make something happen. He had to go for those big plays. Some of those big plays certainly worked at the start, maybe not so much later. You do find yourself in that position where you have to just be a little bit more obvious because, I mean, either you go in or you lose, especially with the last couple of minutes on there. But not as one-sided of a map as a lot of people think. And this is one element of the two that I always love watching, that DaHanG and rapha, mostly rapha, there is that liquid element where they lock in the control, they control the map, there's a delay between the items, and you just do not exist anymore. They completely shut you out. Now, when they play each other, at what point was either of the two players completely shut out from that map? I don't really think there were many points it was. They're able to kind of almost stop that element from happening to each other, and that's not something that happens to rapha all that often.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, when you see incredible control, right, that gripping control where your opponent's just not getting any majors, they're struggling to pick up light armors or the weapons that they need. This was not the case, and a lot of that had to do with the scoreline. I mean, 13-8 is quite a few frags, so it didn't allow anyone really to have that. That was an unfortunate rocket jump right there that rapha was able to capitalize on. But I would agree, and I think it goes to show, as both of these two players have gotten to see their reaction cams, like certainly not dissatisfied with a few of the happenings of that game, but
minor disgust, I think I'll call it.
Yes, exactly, minor. But I think DaHanG's rail early is clearly what kind of set the pace, and probably what changed rapha's mindset a little bit to say, okay, let me try a few different things here.
There was very much less of a ranged game coming out from rapha after that. These opening shots are a lot more severe. The use of just rocket launcher alone, an impressive amount of damage he's able to land. And DaHanG, I really cannot say it enough. He was able to kind of fight fire with fire, and an impressive start. Not quite able to get the map in the end. There was only one frag that separated them for the longest time until DaHanG ran out of time, and he's going to do the only thing he can do, which is push forward and see what happens. And that's where the scoreline just gets a little bit more extreme. But hey, look, if you lose, you lose. Yep. That's, in some ways, it doesn't matter what the score is. You either win or you lose. But now, Deep Embrace, our next map.
Yeah.
And it's the Athena from rapha coming out, which I'm always excited to watch.
Athena on paper is like just a champion I love. But Athena in practice is difficult to learn and even harder to master, right? So I think seeing these players really show this like updated tech every single time that we see them on Athena is really, really impressive. I mean, between the Avic matchup and some of the rapha games that we've seen with Athena, I've always seen things, I didn't know you could do that. Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. And it is really incredible. You also got to think about just how much management they're doing with each hook, because sometimes they are going to do a maneuver that takes multiple hooks, right? And so there's just an extra layer on top of that. I know everyone's doing some cooldown management and whatnot, but I think when you want to be able to always rely on that mobility of Athena, it's a little bit more difficult. You can't just go ham all the time, but I'm excited for this one catch up.
Well, both of these players are in the lobby, and our warm-up is just about to come to a close. For yet another time, Deep Embrace is played today. It has been one of the absolute most popular maps of the week, and you know what? No complaints from me. It's one of my favorites. rapha takes the first map on DaHanG, but it was not one-sided by any means. But I'm keeping a close eye on rapha's Athena today.
Me too. And we're going to be watching through DaHanG's eyes to see if we see rapha flying around. DaHanG opening things up like a firework. That's a big rail hit off the bat. He's going to also try to do some denial of the rail here if he can, as rapha's still yet to put his hands on it, is waiting for it. Oh, misses that one. That would have been a pretty big shot. A second one as well. And although rapha has a little lesser armor stack and manages to hit that rail, we're going to see DaHanG pick up that heavy, and rapha likely to go for that mega. There he goes.
That was a funny challenge from rapha at the beginning. He knows that DaHanG has the rail angle. Oh my lord, the aggressive super shotgun. rapha has to be careful. There is no armor, but it doesn't matter. He survives with 1 HP. That's a die hard and a half.
Yeah, that could have gone either way, right? Unfortunate there for DaHanG, but now looking through rapha's eyes. Is a tribal already coming out. There we get a grapple up to the top. LG's both players. The chase happening to hang so low, and a single seller too is all Rapha needs to clean it up. He's now sitting 2-2, not in a position to be able to deny that rail. Something we see pretty regularly on this map, and honestly, the way that DaHanG's kind of been playing, I'd want to keep it out of his hands too.
DaHanG, one thing he definitely did there was delay his spawn.
Oh.
And DaHanG, he's one player that is not shy of it, just mixing up when you choose to spawn, just to make that kind of spawn play a little bit more unpredictable. That's kind of what happened here. Rapha's kind of scouting around, trying to figure out where he is, and then by the time he's realized it, DaHanG's already gone. So I do wonder how many of those he's going to be able to get away with. A nice little added element. The defensive LG fresh up, but it looks like Rapha still pumping out the damage as the frag to drop. And there's that delayed spawn once again. It is making it a bit hard to keep DaHanG in that cycle. So I do think that's one thing DaHanG has going for him right now. How long it will work, I'm not sure.
Yeah, 4-0, quick little lead here. And you know, I was observing that last fight that was happening when DaHanG was kind of in the middle section, and I almost feel like Rapha is completely fine as Athena, you know, wanting to fight, or wanting that player, wanting the player to be in the middle, right? Normally where you want to be to control. He's using the tri-bolt really well. Nice job
What a
by
steal.
DaHanG. He does use the orb to get in there, and unfortunately Rapha doesn't have an answer for that. He's going to get another frag off of there. But you know, what I was saying doesn't matter anyway. Rapha's no longer in control. DaHanG's got it. He's down by 2, but he's really brought it back.
What a classic DaHanG maneuver that was as well. It would be flawless timing on the Dire Orb into armor that got him that. Well, the beginnings of what could be a comeback. The way things are currently going. Catches him with the LG though. Forces the frag. 4-1 continues. DaHanG, I mean, in that kind of close range encounter, that's either going to be a +1 or a -1. The result stays the same. Rapha doesn't have a rail yet, but he's gotten so much mileage out of his machine gun. I don't even think he cares about having one yet.
Yeah, he really has. And you're seeing Rapha kind of already shown the different ways that Athena can be utilized. We've seen it as like a defensive way to juke out of the way. We've seen it obviously for position. We've seen it when you're, you know, flying off and you kind of want to get back to the ground. So we're kind of seeing Athena in full display here. Now the heavy was just picked up. Mega is up next. I'm not sure what Rapha's plan here is. Tries to use the grapple for a little bit of momentum, but that doesn't work out for him. Looks like he's just going to be completely hanging out here by the heavy, getting ready for that. He's given up the Mega and now positions himself for it. And there it is.
DaHanG doesn't accomplish much apart from a light armor and a rail into the face. As Rapha takes yet another heavy. The aggressive, highly aggressive grappling hook. DaHanG tries to go in, but again, the use of this super shotgun. Rapha knows that DaHanG is looking for those close encounters.
So that actually said the grapple
Yeah,
did the kill?
you can propel into them and do a little bit of damage.
What is that damage?
Oh god, you put me on the spot now. I can't quite remember. I know it's nothing huge.
Oh, that wasn't.
He was
necessarily
so weak then. I think it's you actually rarely see it kill in duel. In other
Yeah,
modes,
that's
maybe.
why I was a little surprised by it. Yeah, I mean, someone in chat will, I'm sure, hit a wiki and be able to tell. But that was, yeah, it's a little rough. Grapple making an appearance here, giving Sync Air a run for his money.
You see it a lot more in
25.
things like free for all and team deathmatch, right? Where there's kind of more targets to knock into, but in duel, it's very, very much a rare occurrence, I think. However, the 5-minute warning, and this has just been a beauty to spectate. You just get to see what Athena can do on maps where she doesn't get picked all that much. The aggressive push. Ooh, that hurts.
Out. That was a pretty nice combo right there. And Rapha, although very, very low, is kind of in a position where he can be able to take some of these shots. I think he knows that DaHanG doesn't have a rail right now, and he could play a lot differently knowing that DaHanG doesn't have a rail. There he's making a beeline for it, and still down by 6 halfway through here. Hits the first rail he needs to, but Rapha with that LG is too strong. 1-8.
Rapha's gonna look to get some extra damage here. DaHanG jumps in towards the Mega, but why is that? He's just spawned, which means he's gonna have no weapons. It's no wonder Rapha was so confident to push forward there. But again, the denial, the #1 game. DaHanG has nothing to take this fight besides a rocket launcher. And Rapha should, by all means, secure yet another one. He's just picked up a rail, but that's the only one he's had for some time.
Oh, no.
But DaHanG still can't push in because he'll die. Knocking Rapha off course. It didn't really do much, Wheat. And Rapha continues the full control of this map. You think you've seen so many different ways of Deep Embrace being played. I've seen Athena on this map, and I still haven't seen it played like this.
It's a real treat to watch, Ketchup. It really is. And I mean, I'm getting frustrated for DaHanG watching some of this because that little dance with the grapples around, he used it in so many different ways, and there's a momentous rail as he uses that grapple to pick up that speed and then perfectly lands the rail. But see, those like redirections, the grapple redirections are some of my favorites because you can go into a room with momentum and a player might think, okay, I know where they're going. But those grapple momentum switches completely throw an opponent off. And not that that's having a huge difference here in this matchup because it is still a 10 frag lead here for Rapha, but he's definitely putting on a clinic, and it's impressive to see.
It's one of the first times all map long that the Dire Orb aggressively has actually been used to secure a frag. Rapha's ability to pump out pretty much as much damage as he possibly can has been bringing him through this entire map. Now, unfortunately to say it, likely to be Rapha's win again here as DaHanG. The mobility, you take someone like Rapha, who is as calculated as he is, and he plays around every single item on the map, no matter how big or small. And then you give him, in a game where you already have unbelievable creativity behind your movement, you then add Athena's grappling hook on top of it. If Rapha wants to be somewhere, no matter the restrictions, he can be there. And I can think of no scarier combination.
I agree. I mean,
like, wait,
between
how do you read the guy who is the best at reading you? And now he can be wherever he wants.
You know, it's like those mirror matches, kind of in a way, but different. It just, you know, your opponent knows exactly what you're going to do, so that it becomes a much more difficult battle. But yeah, 11 frags separating these two, 90 seconds left to go, and although DaHanG has given his best, Rapha clearly showing here. This map and then, you know, Awoken, I think, are just two maps that are kind of made for Athena if the picks come down to it, and just love watching it.
Can Rapha somehow squeeze this frag out? Nowhere. The answer is no, as DaHanG pushes in and gets yet another one, but 10 frags in 1 minute? Do we think it's possible? The answer is no.
No.
The answer is definitely no.
Look at that. The grapple to steal the two 25s there. I mean, it's just, he's grappling all over the place. And there's the kill for 4-14. We are going to go on to a third and final map, which is going to be Exile, BJ on DaHanG and Rapha on the Strog. But Deep Embrace, always enjoy watching this map, Ketchup. It's definitely one of my favorites. I like the speed. I like what these players do, and we're seeing it right here.
Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure how much, I think, perhaps scrimming against each other with these kind of champions we see, because I know they do talk a lot. Obviously, Rapha and DaHanG, very good friends, teammates for as long as they have been, but this is the kind of pick in this style that I kind of feel like if Rapha against anyone this stage gets Deep Embrace and gets Athena, I'm going to be keeping a very, very close eye on it, because we've seen Athena picked on this map before, but I think many of us have never seen Athena played like that on that map before. And that is maybe one of the things that you can only get by playing Rapha. And if you haven't, and if Rapha isn't playing you because, you know, you're in his tournament path, how do you get that experience? How do you get ready for it? DaHanG spent a lot of that map.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like he was just having to figure out on the fly, what do I do about this? And that might not be the last we see of this combination, I think.
No, I agree. And I think, you know, as if it continues to become kind of meta in those two maps like we talked about it, even though it is situational, you've also just got to, you know, either A, know how to handle it, or B, learn how to play it, which might help you know how to handle it a little better. But it's also, it's not like this is so widespread yet, ketchup, you know what I mean? Like it's a weird, because I feel like you do have to put a lot of time in, but if it's such a situational champ pick too, right, is that where players want to put their time? So I don't know. I guess when you're someone like Rapha or Avic, you kind of might have that ability to say, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna like grind out Athena games on these maps, and because I can, but I don't know. It's just really impressive.
Hey, we've been seeing Pro League for 2 years, and you almost feel like you've seen it all. And then at the same time, it almost feels like there's no way anyone can ever have what you could call a secret weapon, right? Whether it's a certain champion on a certain map. We all know that Rapha has possibly the best Athena out there. You know, when you think of Athena, you think of Rapha, you think of Chain. We've obviously seen Avic behind the wheel as well. But you look at a map like Deep Embrace, which is still a map that people are experimenting with. These new maps, and it's almost funny we should be saying that, as Exile is going to be our final destination of the show, but these new maps do bring with them always room for experimentation. We've seen the experimentation not quite go that way. We did see Cygib pick Visor on that map earlier, and it didn't really seem to do much for him. But it seemed like an experimental pick. Again, if that isn't, then someone please, by all means, let me know. If Cygib plays it regularly, I'd love to know. Haven't seen it much myself. But yeah, I just love it. I love the experimentation.
I mean, you think about even the early days of Deep Embrace, like Rapha, right, favored the Keel, right, like playing that way. So having an option in either class, I think, is pretty valuable, right? So I don't know. I think I love seeing the meta change and shift and being added to. I mean, look at how much more people are using Tri-Bolt today than they did back in Season 2, Stage 1. It is being utilized a lot more. We've obviously DK had a major change, but right, we got to see that sort of switch things up or mix things up a little bit. Although I feel like that's meta's kind of fallen off. So maybe this new maybe Athena is kind of like one of the new metas that will slowly sneak in.
I am happy that Death Knight is finally in Quake Champions. I know that, you know, in certain casual modes and stuff, he could be quite fun on those smaller maps, but the change to him being as common as he was, there's always this element of, hey, look, fresh, new, more stuff to learn, more tricks up your sleeve, but then over time just becomes another one in the list of potentials. And we've seen that with champions a lot. It kind of feels like right now, Scalebearer is that almost flavor of the month. Obviously, Scalebearer is extremely powerful, definitely not downplaying that champion, but there's always this, with each new couple of months comes this new pick, right? And Scalebearer is that, Death Knight was that for sure. And we jump into this final map between Rapha and DaHanG. Rapha with the Strog, the aggressive dual wield. Oh, right on the backside as he gets away. I say that, he didn't get away at all. He died. Rest in peace, BJ.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? And I like again, we talked a little bit about risks, and DaHanG probably, you know, looking for those to take advantage of. I think that dual wield off the spawn as an initial counter makes a lot of sense. Rapha was just ready for it. And of course, Peeker got to help out and have a little fun itself. So 43 seconds, but Rapha's already on the board fighting here for the Mega. And it's not going to happen. It's cleanly picked up here. But look at that rocket bounce to rail combo for frag 2. And I understand why Rapha likes to play the Strong on this map. I think it's pretty good for the movement style. And, you know, Peeker, there's a lot of really interesting places where you can use it and stay safe.
We've already seen a couple of the crouch slide mobility options just be so good on this map so far. Rapha's ability to go near heavy and just zip in and out, and before you know it, the heavy's been taken. And in this case, especially so far, Rapha, there's always a plan of attack. There's, I'm going in, I'm going to do this, it's going to knock up this way or that way, whatever it is. But it's the execution on top of those decisions that is just so unreal. Maybe not quite expecting DaHanG to back up there, right as he activates Peeker. DaHanG has already turned around, and he picks up a couple of frags. Now, DaHanG is at death's door. Yes, BJ is going to regenerate a little bit of that, but Rapha's still going to spawn with more. And he goes to the telly. I don't think Rapha was fully expecting that.
I don't think so either. Trying to now defend for this Mega. Does manage to grab it, but not without taking a lot of damage himself. Now, DaHanG is low, though. LG picked up by rapha, and I think he's probably thinking that's all I need. As he busted out right there, dual wheel does hit, but it is rapha who gets the much better angle on that one, pushing DaHanG down to that bottom floor, but unable to get that heavy. Here we have Peeker coming out, dealing a little bit of damage, trying to get the cleanup here with the machine gun, but oh, nice rocket for the cleanup.
So DaHanG, funny you should spawn near rail, because I was just about to mention it's been a hot minute since either player has gone out of their way to take a rail, and I think there's just been such emphasis. Oh, DaHanG!
Wow.
Oh my God, I was watching that from rapha's point of view. I don't even know what happened.
I don't either.
Replay.
Man,
get that.
I want to know
get that for us,
what
please.
the hell happened. Because that was like a delayed ring out there. I don't know if he misjumped. I don't know. I'd love to see what happened there.
It almost felt like rapha knew it was going to happen, though, because he went off. He didn't do enough damage to kill, but he still went away.
Oh, revenge.
Sink.
3-7. Wow. Oh, my goodness. It's just a back and forth. It's brutal catch up. 3 minutes, 20 seconds into this game. 8-3, 5 frag lead here for rapha. And we've had both players off the map at one point, which we see more and more of here on Exile. And one of the reasons why I do enjoy this map. But rapha clearly feeling confident and in control here, because there's only been a few moments. The dual wield not really doing much for DaHanG here.
Meets him head on, only minimal damage though, as he does manage to go through. I love the fact that rapha did use the Peeker first. It's a safe advance. And able to wait out the time on the dual wield, which once again leaves DaHanG in a position where he's kind of playing championless Quake champions.
Yeah, this is well, already a series win for rapha, obviously, with 2 maps, but he's looking to maintain that undefeated map record. He is currently sitting at 23-0, and a win on this one would make it 24. Unfortunately, DaHanG, after the rocket jump from, well, I don't know if that was officially a rocket jump there from rapha, but DaHanG suicides, 7 frags separating these two halfway through. And, you know, it's unfortunate catch up because I felt like DaHanG's rail has been really solid in these last 2 maps, but he really hasn't been able to bring it out and let it shine.
That is a trade and a half. Unfortunately, in this position, a trade that will merely assist rapha. DaHanG is in position for heavy, yeah, sure, but it's 5 minutes, 7 frags to go. You know rapha's going to play that defensive game if it calls to it. And just the longer this goes, the worse it's going to get. Now DaHanG, it's a nice little bit of rocket damage. That's definitely less damage and more just information, right? rapha's down there. What can I do with this?
What can he do with it? That is the question. He, as I mentioned, needs to be hitting those rails. He finds his opponent going after the chase, but look at this defensive play from rapha. Through the teleporter, huge shotgun blast, second brought, third one to take him down, and he's going skeet shooting today. DaHanG finally brings the frag back in his favor, 4-10. Can he convert, though, catch up? As he is on the chase trying to run his opponent down. The dual wield comes out. Peeker, a huge amount of damage, but the dual wield finally pays off for DaHanG, and he makes this a 5 frag game.
I'm kind of just looking at the maths, though. 5 frags in 4 minutes. rapha taking a bunch of damage, and DaHanG happy to pay that damage out. You've always known him as a source of great accuracy and damage, I think. If he needs to hit a shot, he'll do it.
You know, Ketchup, you got to look at the map as a formula with variables, because someone could fall into the void or get rocket blasted in the face.
Expect the unexpected.
You know, rapha could just have a totally awesome rail with that huge amount of momentum he has and makes it happen there. Oh, DaHanG gets in his face after the Peeker comes out. And that's going to be an easy pickup for him. And it's now 4 frags with about 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go.
Respectable amount of damage from that plasma, though. DaHanG has to think twice about pushing in, and he actually might pay the price. No! Hits the rail.
snap.
And just like that, he is a stone's throw away from tying things up. Rapha off the spawn, gets punished. Can Rapha do anything here to survive? No, he can't. DaHanG, another delicious rail. And wait a minute, this is the end of the day. This is the end of the week. Are we finally going to see? Are we going to see it?
Well, DaHanG's going to try to put on a show for us. That is for sure. Rapha, he's going to put on his own show, see what he can make happen here. A rail comes out as the peaker, but not in the peaker, like you completely misread that. DaHanG's now brought it back 10 to 11, and suddenly things have and there's that rail we talked about hoping to see out of DaHanG. He's finally wielding that thing, and now we are tied 11-11.
It honestly feels like player accuracy tanks when they pull out the dual wield rail, but DaHanG was able to land every shot that he needed to right there. He's equalized, brought us to 11-11. That rocket certainly hurts as well. DaHanG has the items, has the stack, and right now he's got the damage to boot because he's sitting on 400 more. At the end of the day, is this going to be where DaHanG's able to get a map they trade?
Oh my gosh, this is huge. It looks like DaHanG is going to grab that heavy, and he gets all of the big pinata of weapons that exploded there on that last one. We're tied still 12-12, but that did equalize things a little bit here. I don't think either player has a rail. Peaker comes out, does a ton of damage. Rapha waiting for this one. Unfortunately, that LG not quite reaching there. He gets a little bit of damage off, grabs that light, and DaHanG with a better health stack, but no armor. Huge run by Rapha there. Big risk. He's going to try to take both of the major items.
What?
And how does he do it? That is crazy.
Absolutely just ran the circuit and absorbed both of these major items, and he pushes forward. DaHanG's going to drop in the final minute. That one moment of Rapha just knowing in his bones the time was right.
1 minute warning.
Now DaHanG has to play this careful game. Unfortunately, though, a little bit too obvious through that teleporter. Rapha hits him with the rail instantly, and it's not just the rail, it's the mega that's been collected. This is a difficult position now for DaHanG if there ever was one.
It really is. Less than 45 seconds left to go. Rapha up by 1. He can play very defensively here, although he's showing signs of wanting to be a little bit aggressive, which I suppose is good too. Looking for the rail, lands a rail, but gets hit on his own. He had to back off from that one. He's got to be very, very careful with less than 30 seconds left to go. What is DaHanG going to do? Rapha, no peeker out. It's just him and his life stack and no armor. Takes a little bit of light LG damage right there. Grabs the light. And DaHanG now is doubled up, but he's got 8 seconds to find his opponent.
He can't chase him. He doesn't have the speed. Rapha's got the crouch slide. BJ doesn't. DaHanG just needs to hope he catches him. Can he do it? No!
Oh, man. Playing with fire there at the end. That is crazy. Wow.
I was about to say, Rapha has the crouch slide. DaHanG needs to bump into him now. And that is right before I could even say that. DaHanG gets the perfect call out on where Rapha's going to go. He knows he can't chase him. He knows he's on the run. I need to just dedicate to a direction, find it, and get the damage. We just needed 1 extra second, Wheat, and we could have seen a sudden death.
Let's bring Dan back, who I just heard sigh, which, you know, he's probably like, dude, it was right there. Dan, what'd you think of the series in that last map?
I mean, Tim let me down. That's all that matters here. He let me down. Oh man, but no, I mean seriously, that series was intense. Particularly that last map. For anyone to come back from such a deficit is insane. DaHanG nearly pulled it out. I mean, that's 1 and 3. And another day, this could have been definitely a 2-1 for DaHanG. I thought he played amazingly. But this is Rapha, and this is the Rapha show, and he wasn't going to let anyone take a map away from him. Not even his best friend, Wheat.
Not even his best friend. That's, yeah. And he really did look like he had a little bit of extra fuel at his take there at the very end, didn't it? When it came down to it, you know, I have to imagine that there was like a little moment where he's like, I've got to keep my undefeated map record. And then it's just like, let's go and do another gear.
But now, what could you say? Like, this, It's amazing to see Rapha continue to do it, but it's also great to see him pushed to the wire. I mean, it's not that fun watching a whitewash, but this level of Quake, again, it matches up to the last series time and again. They are both incredible displays, and it makes me even more excited, if possible, for upcoming QuakeCon finals.
Oh,
Absolutely.
If there's anything that is always taken away is to expect the unexpected. Not so much with these two. Like I said at the beginning of the series, one thing I thoroughly enjoy about watching them is that you don't see that kind of patented liquid dominance. They are so good at being able to one-up each other. Rapha does ultimately have the last laugh again, but the close exchange, the only map that wasn't close was Deep Embrace, and I think that's just a story for another time. I do not think it's the last time we're going to see that. I don't think it's the last time we're going to see it work, and I feel like come QuakeCon at home, there's going to be an instance where Rapha's going to have some kind of performance like that with those combinations, and it's just going to be, you know, we saw him do this versus DaHanG, and it kind of almost seemed like the beginning of something. And I think that's kind of where we are today. Just so you're aware, folks, no interview this week. We have spoken to Rapha enough in this stage. It's not his fault. There's just schedules.
It's like, bro, I'm charging you guys $5,000 an interview now. There's so many.
But
no, that's okay.
You know, we'll give him time. We'll give time to come up with new questions and new answers. And look, in a few weeks, we're going to have QuakeCon anyway. So, lads, this is the end of the show. But do we have anything to take away? I think we've had some great matches. Kilson and Razy, for me, was a fantastic showing. Cypher and Base, I think they were my two favorite series of the day.
There's still a few more weeks for me to get my $5, so I'm confident in the NA scene to be able to pull one out for ZSX.
Wait, let's. Who should we? Who does Rapha play? Who does he have left? Let's take a look at that.
Doesn't matter. They're all great players. They're all capable of doing it. That's all that matters.
I'm gonna look. You keep going. Keep talking.
I mean, while we do it, I was gonna wrap up the show. I was gonna wrap things up, you know. And now I've got this unexpected extra few minutes.
I've got it. Hold on one second. So Rapha has a bye week 13.
It's a bye.
He plays Effortless next week. So that would be the last chance, Dan.
Effortless. I'm looking. You can't let me down.
Pressure's on.
I've given you so much praise over the last 3 or 4 years. This is the time to live up to that.
No pressure.
Just a shout out
no
to
pressure,
you.
of course,
train you,
but you
it
are
takes.
our only hope. And on that note, it's really hot here. I need to take this damn jacket off. I'm dying, and we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you all so much for tuning into this latest week. As Dan said, we do have more weeks on the way, and it's only a few weeks until QuakeCon at home, the online realm, begins, where there's going to be id games everywhere, and I can't wait. Thank you for watching. My name's Ketchup, joined by ZSX, DJ Wheat. Appreciate you for joining me as always, chaps. Always a good time. Thank you to Bethesda, id, the production team for doing all these shows, the players, and of course, you, the viewers. Cheers for watching. We'll see you same time, same place next week, where Quake Pro League returns. Good night.